Welcome back to another edition of the Washington Nationals here on OOTP 27, and as you can see, it is July 27th, and we are approaching the 2031 trade deadline, and we are 10 games out of first place. The Braves are 10.5, the Mets are 16. It's starting to look like we're not going to be able to compete for the division this season. The Phillies are actually good. We have four really good teams here in the NL, the East Division. If you go by run differential and just, rosters, these teams are all just beating up on each other right now. But the Phillies are managing to have a 10-game lead on all of us here. And we are currently sitting as the number one team in the wild card with the Braves, who are a half game behind us, as the number two team. So we're still sitting pretty for a playoff spot. We at least get that top wild card, so we don't have to deal with playing like whoever the best team in the National League would be, which would be the Phillies. And we saw what happened when we played them last year when they were not a good team. And we're not going to go over how the whole team is doing right now, but just a quick little run through of what we're possibly looking to acquire here. When we take a look at the lineups, James Wood is back in left field. Mike Sirota's back in center now. Both of them have come back from their injuries. And Ryan Lasko is no longer on this team, nor is Enrique Bradfield Jr. We got rid of Enrique Bradfield Jr. to bring back Wood. And then once Sirota came back, we got rid of Lasko. And now we're just kind of playing Ronnie Cruz as our backup corner outfielder. And then Zahir Hope as the second, or as like the main backup center fielder, who's also the starting right fielder. So we also have Dylan O'Ray as the secondary backup center fielder on the team as well. So we've got all the positions covered. We don't need to bring anybody else up. We're looking pretty right now on the hitting side of things. I really don't think we need to add a bat. I feel like we have plenty of depth. We've got plenty of juice in the lineup. The one thing that's just really a bummer is that Spencer Torkelson is just continuing to not hit well. 7 home runs, 277 plate appearances. I mean, his home run to fly ball rate is terrible. His expected batting average is terrible. Batting run value, obviously terrible. I mean, I don't even know what to say about him anymore. His ratings are still really good. He just doesn't perform. You look at these splits, he had a decent month of June, okay, May, but March, March isn't going to count, but July here, he has not been good whatsoever. And there's really no sort of sign that he's going to be performing better. He's angry about his performance. At least he cares enough to be angry about that. But, if he's going to continue not hitting, we might have to make a move to where, Ronnie Cruz is playing first base or Brady House is playing first base, because those guys have juice in their bats right now, and Torkelson just does not. And I actually recently got an email from Brady House being like, hey, man, I deserve to be in the starting lineup. And I'm like, man, I don't disagree. And it would probably even help our team, too, because Torkelson, who's actually doing decently well with the glove this year at first base, is not quite the defender that Brady House is, where he'd be a potentially 80-grade first baseman defensively, and in 40 games has a 2 ZR at first base. And then on the pitching side of things, obviously this is going to be where we look to add players here to our team at the deadline, a starter or two. Maybe just one, probably just one, but maybe two. We, not to steal a term from the media and front office people, but we're kind of getting a trade deadline acquisition here in Mlodzinski, coming back from his injury here, rehabbing his bone chip elbow. There's bone chip surgery. He's currently in AAA. He's gotten one appearance down there. Did not go well, apparently. But, we're still excited to get back him in the mix here in the big leagues and pitch the rest of the season for us, hopefully, and be a big part of our team heading into the postseason. So we'll get to add him to the staff. We'll also have Evan Hollick coming off the IL at some point this season. Not anytime soon, but at some point this season. So he'll be a big bump to the bullpen. And that's a trade deadline acquisition after the trade deadline. Once again, not meaning to speak a sort of GM here, but, you can view it like that. And Rodemaker's got his spot solidified. Honestly, Steinmetz probably has his spot solidified as well. He's been so good this season. The ERA around league average, but a really good FIP, 2.5 wins already. Jerry Harris has been struggling, but on paper, he's still one of our best guys. You probably do want him pitching in the postseason. So, it's probably Rademacher, Steinmetz, Harris, and Mlodzinski. Once again, I don't know when I'm ever going to be able to pronounce this guy's name correctly, but Mlodzinski, Rademacher, Steinmetz, Harris is probably what it looks like heading into the postseason, and then Flukie and Alcia would move to the bullpen. Flukie's been like okay as usual, not good as a starter, but good as some of this is true reliever, some of this is follower, so he's doing well there. And then Edwin Alcia, his sort of thing as well. Not a good starter, but good as a reliever / follower. So I'm really only looking to add one starter to the team on top of Majinski coming back from his injury. So we're going to go out there and see what is available. And just right off the rip here, I'm seeing a lot of relievers like Felix Bautista, who is not an expiring contract, is available. Yohan Duran, who is currently hurt with a dead arm and is an expiring contract, but he's with Houston, who I think they're pretty good. No, they're not. They're 47 and 60. Never mind. So it could make sense that they would trade Duran, but once again, we don't really need a reliever at this point. As far as starters go, Hunter Green with Milwaukee making $51 million a year. He signed a 4-year contract in the 2029 this was the 2029 offseason. So the start of 2029, heading into the 2029 season, he signed a 4-year, $204 million deal with the Chicago White Sox. And then at some point they traded him to Milwaukee in exchange for this guy who looks like he could be really good. And now I have to go back to the page. And this guy who looks whatever. All right, so Hunter Green, don't think that's a possibility with that type of salary. They're out of it, though. They're well below 500. They have multiple teams in front of them in the wild card. They're definitely looking to trade. We would have to do some serious retaining if we were to pick up Hunter Green, and I don't know if I want Hunter Green. You got 41-year-old Zach Wheeler, who, is he once again on a rehab assignment? He is once again on a rehab assignment. We were looking at him last season at the deadline for a little bit until we were like, oh, he's on a rehab assignment from a torn labrum and then shoulder inflammation. And then what do you know? This season, shoulder inflammation again because he's 41 and has shoulder issues. I don't think we're going to be doing this, folks. And he also was coming back from a torn UCL in real life. So not a lot of good injury stuff happening here with Zach Wheeler. Plus, he's 41. Even if he is still rated very well, not trying to trust that. I mean, just look how many innings he's thrown since 2029. I mean, it's not very encouraging. I do admire Seattle, though, being like, we just watched what happened with Boston last season. We see the injury history, but we can fix him. We can fix him for $39 million. We can fix him. And turns out they can't. But yeah, let's just look at this at starters here. So Wheeler, we already looked at Green. Blake Snell is expiring and wrecked, so he's not going to be an option either. Corbin Burns, we've already done the Corbin Burns experiment, and he's also wrecked now. Parker Messick, who I believe finished runner-up in the Cy Young one of the seasons. Yes, finished second in the 2029 Cy Young Award. Back with Cleveland here in 2029, and then hasn't ever been able to replicate that, but he's he has had some really good FIPS. Interesting pitcher. He's also still arbitration eligible. Odd. So yeah, Parker Messick could be interesting. The A's are very much out of it, so yeah. Messick could be interesting. Adding a lefty to the staff too, I don't mind that. Definitely not going after 42-year-old Chris Sale, who somehow is not wrecked. He's not wrecked, but he's fragile. So Texas has Corbin Burns and Chris Sale, who are both injury-prone. And then there's Ian Seymour with Milwaukee. Also arbitration eligible still. He could be interesting. So Ian Seymour and Parker Messick are probably the first two guys I'd look at right now. Reed Detmers, probably not. Kevin Gausman, probably too old. Yeah, not really looking to acquire that. Nick Lodolo, not expiring, but very, very cheap. And really good percentile rankings, putting together a 2.5-win season. What are the Royals doing? They are not even on the page. Yeah, they're 17 games out of the Central. They're horrible. Oh, they're right here. What am I, stupid? I just skimmed past them like 6 times. So yeah, Nick Lodolo, he might be the one I want to go after. He could possibly even be a buy low where we get somebody like Parker Messick and Nick Lodolo and then just strengthen up the staff even more. That could be an option for us. I feel like that might be overkill, though, because definitely one of them is probably going to have to go to the bullpen, and then we already have like a loaded bullpen to where we don't know who we'd want to send down. Chris Bubich is decent, but he's torn labrum wrecked. Yeah, no thank you. DJ Hers still with Colorado, apparently. All these years he's been with Colorado, and he's actually been quite solid, but don't know if I want to bring him back, especially since he's guaranteed 10.5 next season. A lot of 50 dudes available. Jacob Lopez. Brandon Sproat. Probably not. Jose. Also, Brandon Sproat back with the Mets. That's interesting. Jose Suarez. Probably not. Ryan Weiss. Yeah, probably not interesting there either. Especially since he's outspoken. Noah Cameron. I like him in real life, but, probably not in this. And then there's Reese Olson, who is, probably not going to pick him up either. He's also multiple years. They just extended him. So, not looking to do that. So it's Parker Messick, Ian Seymour is interesting, and Nick Lodolo. And I like that Lodolo he's a vesting option, so even if he does tick this 180 innings, he's still very cheap next season, and he's probably going to tick 180 innings, and these percentile rankings are really good. Where Messick's kind of got a bunch of underlying stuff, because the run value is not great, but a bunch of underlying stuff for him. And then you look at like his ERA is down, but his FIP is fine. He could definitely tick up behind in front of our defense with what defense behind him, I should say. And then Ian Seymour, lefty, 35 stamina. Side armor, though. I mean, Messick's a side armor, too. I mean, they're all lefties we're looking at. We're looking at all lefties, but Lodolo has just been so good that I think we're going to go after him. So we're going to go Lodolo. Yeah, I mean, this would not take anything really at all. Wow, Eric Booth's up to a 45. I did not realize that. That is very intriguing. So he'll probably stick around as a guy who can play defense for us. So just scrolling through guys that we can do one for Nick Lodolo here, I'm leaning towards just giving them Willie Gonzalez here, who's, a teenager Dominican who we signed in the international free agent class in the 2029 offseason. Super far away, could be something down the line, but I'm totally fine giving up that. I feel like that's probably more valuable than giving them like a reliever, who we could just give them Ismael Lepe here, but I mean, he's a reliever. Gonzalez definitely has more value long term. I mean, they would even just do this straight up for like a quad A sort of player, so I don't think we need to give them anything too crazy. Like, we don't need to go ahead and give them one of our good relievers who we think could be something for us. So I think we're just going to give them Gonzalez and then maybe throw in some like random dude who could be useful. Like here, have Mason Bixby. He's never going to make our team. We have too many relievers. Mason Bixby and Willie Gonzalez are going to go to the Kansas City Royals, and we are going to receive Nick Lodolo and hope that he's able to keep up this performance that he's been doing this season. So let's lock that in. Add him to our staff. Bada bing, bada boom. I thought about possibly acquiring a bat here just to possibly bring in some more pop. And Brent Rooker having a down season with the Angels here, and the Angels are barely paying any of this. The A's are retaining most of this $23.8 million as an expiring contract. So I'm like, he's having a down season, but he's got some good underlying stats here. Maybe we would be able to pick him up and he would be able to turn things around with us. But then I'm like, I'm looking at our team and like, we acquire Rooker. Who would we get rid of? Like, I'm already thinking moving House to first base and put Torkelson more on the bench because he's been performing so poorly. And like, we're not going to just cut Torkelson right now. If we do that, it would be more of like an off-season move or some point next season. Or I think we're probably going to try to trade him this offseason to get something for him. But I just don't think we want to make the move now to get rid of him. And so we'll keep him on the team as like a bench player and move House to first base for now. But like, there's nobody to really send down. Like, we need O'Ray and Cruz on the team. Leno's our backup catcher. House and Torkelson are going to switch spots. So I guess we could send down a pitcher since we have a six-man rotation now, and Jerry Harris kind of adds an extra arm. But like we already just sent down, what's his name? This guy, Roberto Mansour Hughes here. We just sent this guy down to back to AAA after 4 1/3 in the big leagues to make room for Lodolo. And then it's like, who else will we send down? Like, Lambert's an opener for us. He's been doing the thing. He's like the super opener. The ERA is not great for him right now, but he's doing his thing as the opener. We don't really have anybody else who would want to open for us. I guess Sakura could open. But, and Hardcastle could move into this role. I guess that's a possibility. But, like, if we acquire Brent Rooker, he would already be coming in as, like, a guy who splits first base time between Torkelson, House, and Rooker. Like, is that even really worth acquiring, even if it is something that's, like, very minor because he's having such a down season? I think we might do it. We might do it. I might just go, hey, Brent Rooker, come over here, and we will give the Angels... I'm not giving you anything good. We're giving you a 26-year-old who could maybe play you a decent middle infield, and, like, maybe he plays for them. Who knows? But Colin Norton, somebody we took in the 2027 draft, 10th round, we're going to give him for Brent Rooker, who's having a super down season, and he's going to come over to our team and maybe rejuvenate himself for the rest of the season. And we'll see how it goes. Just have another bat on the team, and maybe we get to the postseason, and Torkelson's being so horrible that maybe Rooker ends up on the postseason roster, and Torkelson doesn't. We'll have to see, but we're bringing in another power bat to this team in Brent Rooker. And Norton does move up to a 45 overall when he's a second baseman, so like he could definitely be useful for the Angels at some point. Alrighty, so we have made our changes to the team here. We have first base as some giant clusterfuck of Brady House, Brent Rooker, and Torkelson is just like the third sort of guy who's going to pinch hit a decent amount. And then it's like every other game, it's going to be House, Rooker, House, Rooker, House, Rooker, House, Rooker, and then against lefties, it's Rooker and then House. So, it doesn't really matter, but, you know, I just swap them because why the hell not? We also have Ronnie Cruz playing every third game at second base. That's why we do have him as a pinch hitter here. We did have Jet Williams as a pinch hitter, but we just have so many guys. Because usually when I have guys like this where they're playing like every second or third game, I like to put the starter and the backup, if they're both good hitters, in the pinch hitters. Because, you know, you want the guy when he's on the bench to be on the pinch hitter list. But you can only put 4 of these guys, so we had to prioritize which ones we wanted. And I just think that Cruz is a bit better of a bat than Jet Williams, but it's not like he's a slouch. So he just has more pop, but, you know, they're still going to pinch hit him, I'd imagine, at some point, but this is just what we have set there against righties and against lefties. And yeah, it's basically the same thing aside from that. Ford catching, Hope and right, it's hitting second, Feliz hitting third, Woods actually cleaning up right now, and then it's House, Harris, Sirota, Williams, Hernandez. So 1 to 9, looking really, really good. Like I said, with Cruz every third game at second, Rooker and House swapping every other day at first base. And yeah, definitely looking forward to seeing what's going on here. Also, I'm going to put Brady House as the defensive sub at first base. So whenever Brent Rooker is playing first base, we'll just be like, okay, he's going to come in and play some defensive first base for him because Rooker can't play first base. We're just kind of, you know, he's straight up Giambi out there. We also want to make sure that all these guys have high leverage pinch hit chance checked on because we don't want them hitting in dumb situations. And then over on the pitching side of things, one less guy in the bullpen, but I feel like we've got enough arms to spread it out and make it through. And we're going to be rocking a 6-man rotation with Rodemaker, Lodolo, Fluky, Harris, Alcia, and Steinmetz. We're going to have to figure out what to do with these dudes once Majinski is back from his rehab assignment, but until then, this is what we're rocking with. It's going to be a struggle to come up with. We might just have to send out Hardcastle and then burn another one of his options, unfortunately. We already sent down Sakura. He's in AAA. He'll be back at some point, probably when the extra man gets added to the roster. Folks, we were sliding for a bit. A little bit of a check-in here. It's August 28th. We're creeping up on that expansion of the roster here, where we'll get 28 guys at the start of September. For a bit, we were slipping for a bit. You could see in July we were 9-15. I was like, "What the hell's going on here?" We dropped down into third place. The Braves are now second place, but been playing much better balls recently here. We are currently on a W8, sweeping Miami on the road, sweeping Colorado at home in a 4-game set, and now we've taken this first game against Miami at home in this last series of the month of August. Let's see what happens against Ethan Kleinschmidt here on the next day. We've got Jerry Harris going. Let's see what it is. Boom, 10-7 extra innings victory. Beautiful stuff. Beautiful stuff. Ronnie Cruz, 3-hit day. 4 hits, 7 ribbies for Angel Feliz. 2 hits for Harris, a hit for Hernandez. 3 hits for Brady House. Rich Leno played. He even got a hit. Harris doubled. House homered. Feliz hit 2 homers. Harris homered. I mean, just beautiful stuff. It looks like one of Feliz's home runs was the walk-off in the 10th inning. He had a 10th inning with 3 on, 2 outs, walks it off, 10-7 victory. Fluky got the start for some reason. Why did Fluky start? I have it as strict order. Who went this game? Lodolo. So why did it skip Harris? Well, I mean, Harris DH, so I don't know why it skipped him in the rotation, considering he was up next and I have it on strict order. So we're just going to have Harris go this next game instead. But we get the win nonetheless. We got Harris, then Majinski, still can't say his name, then Steinmetz. Let's see if we can keep it going here. August 30th, it is Jerry Harris going against Trevor Rogers. Boom! Another victory, and Brent Rooker broke his thumb. Probably got hit, probably a handmate sort of thing. Not good. 5 weeks. He's actually been quite decent since we picked him up. You can see here the wins, whatever. He's a horrible defender at first base, but he's been hitting decently well. No home runs, really, 3, but he's around league average bat, which is more than what we could ask for from Spencer Torkelson at this point. But now it's mainly going to be Brady House at first base, unfortunately, because Brent Rooker is out for 5 weeks. We won! Let's go! It's a W at 11. A 1-1 victory. A 1-run victory here. Lots of positive improvements on the player development here. Bobby Matamoros looking incredible. Him and Hollick, we're going to be locking them up long-term in the offseason. Wellington Herrera, positive improvement to him. Dax Hardcastle looking really solid now. The velo even went up. He added a sinker to his repertoire. Not really a good sinker, but still, he could be a potential starter for us next season. Alrighty, we've gotten the 2 extra players. We have called up 2 pitchers because I don't think we need a position player at the moment. So Ryan Lambert on the team here, back up, doing his thing as the super swing and miss sort of player that we have on the team. And then we also called up Brian Flory, who needed to be added to the 40-man anyways. I added him to the 40-man before the extra man went into effect, so he's actually eligible for the postseason if he ends up pitching well or some point. Or we need him, who knows. But he was dominating at AAA, wanted to be in the big leagues here. Round 5 selection in 2028, Brian Flory. Extreme ground baller, developing quite well. Lots of positive stuff here on his scouting development. And he's now on the big league team here as a long relief, avoid high leverage / mid relief guy, because we don't want him pitching in high leverage situations anyways. Same with Fluky, who's been terrible as of recently, which is a bummer to see. But we've got the thing set, ready to go here. I don't think we've looked at the past couple days of games here, but we saw the extra inning game, and then it was a one-run win, 3-2. Where Wood had 2 hits, Jet Williams had 2 hits, Ford, Hope, and Feliz, Hernandez and House all had 1. Wood, Hope, Feliz all doubled. Wood had a homer. And Majinski went 6 innings, gave up 2 hits. Bullpen shut it down after him. And then the most recent win, another 1-run victory, 6-5 over the Marlins to be, what is that, W12? No, it's a W11. It's a W11. Heading into September, we got a 2-game set against Atlanta. Can we keep it going? We cannot. It immediately ends. An extra inning thriller against the Atlanta Braves, 6-4. Rademacher was really good, only gave up 1 run and it was unearned. Rouse was good, Rodriguez gave up a run, and then Alcia and Lambert gave a bunch of runs towards the end of the game. And Dylan O'Reilly's 4-hit day, Brady House 2-hit day goes spoiled. Folks, we're on a bit of a streak again. It's a W7. We just took 2 out of 3 from LA, the last 2 games of the series in LA. Sweep San Diego in San Diego. And now at home against the Angels, we've taken the first 2. Can we sweep them? It's a W8, folks. Back-to-back extra inning victories here. 7-6 here. Steinmetz pitched. Basically a ton of players played. We had a triple from Cruz, a home run from Cruz and Feliz and Ford win this one 7-6 in extras. And then we had another extras 6-3. Hope doubled, Williams doubled, Feliz doubled, O'Reilly doubled, Harris and Wood both homered, and Rodemacher had a good outing. He gave up 3 runs, but only 1 of them was earned, struck out 7 through 5. Bullpen was lights out behind him, and we win at 6-3. So now we are suddenly on another little win streak here. Little W8 off day, then a 2-game set against Philadelphia. We are currently 2.5 games behind the Phillies. Remember, we were in third, double digits behind them. So now we're creeping up on the Phillies here. How have they been playing recently? Suddenly the run differential's not looking so differential between the 2 teams. That was some great English. Plus 97 for us, plus 98 for them. Looking pretty solid here. Can we chase down the Phillies? So it looks like we're going to have Lodolo and then Jerry Harris going for us. They've got Braxton Ashcraft and Jesus Luzardo. What's going on here? Can we do it? Boom. First game, 6-3. That's a W9. And then we lose it there. No W8. We split the 2-game set with the Phillies. Win the 6-3 game, first one. Lodolo goes 5, strikes out 7, gives up 3. Bullpen was nails behind him, as you would expect. Feliz doubled, Hernandez doubled, Wood doubled, and then Hernandez also homered. And then we had an 8-1 just thrashing with Jerry Harris in the bump. Gave up 4 in 5 1/3, and then Fluky gave up 4 in an inning and also walked 3. I mean, just terrible, Fluky. All right, folks. The division winner has not quite been settled. We are 2 games behind the Philadelphia Phillies. We've got the playoffs clinched, but we could feasibly come from behind and chase them down. There are 3 games left in the regular season. We have the Mets for 3 games at home, while the Phillies have no off day and 3 games at home against Tampa Bay, who is a horrible team. Of course, that's the draw that we get. And then the Mets are, they're a solid team. They're eliminated, but they're a solid team. They probably would have made the playoffs in any other division. You know, they're in the West. They're winning this division easily. So let's just sim through these 3 games and see if we're able to chase down the Phillies. And we dropped the first game 5-2, so that's probably not happening. And then we drop that game 6-3, and then we win the last game 4-2. So yeah, that's definitely not happening. We end up 2 games behind the Phillies. As the regular season has concluded, we have made the playoffs for how many seasons in a row now? That's now 4 straight postseason berths for us, 2028, 2029, 2030, and 2031. We've actually only won the division 2 of those years. And, division crown, not this season, but last season, we don't get it. Very, very tight National League East division. Look at the expended standings once again. Plus 92 for the Phillies, plus 91 for us, plus 56 for the Braves. And then, like I said, even the Mets, plus 39. They would have easily won the West. Probably would have competed in the Central. Or this is the American League. They definitely would have competed in the West. And then maybe not in the Central, but probably would have had an easier time in the Central than they did in the East. But, you never know. So 3 teams from the East Division make it. We're the number 2 team. And then for an injury update here, I should mention that Evan Hollick is currently on a rehab assignment. He got 1 appearance in AAA before the season ended. He will be on the postseason roster here. He was very good for us in 30 innings through 26 starts. He's back from his injury, his ruptured tendon in his finger. He's back. He's ready to go. We are looking forward to seeing him and Matamoros as just true shutdown relievers it's time to take a look at what we did here in the season on the team stats page. Like I said, that month of July, not great, but then August, September, had a bunch of really good win streaks in there, really good months, and we win 90-plus games for another season. I think that's 2 in a row of 90-plus games. Some of these ratings on the hitting side of things, not too towards the top of the league, but still like top 5 in the NL here in basically everything that matters. OBP, slugging, OPS, 4th in WAR, 4th in WOBA, only 7th in runs scored though somehow. So that's kind of concerning because I feel like we've got a ton of juice with the bats, but only 7th in runs scored, only 8th in hits, but then 2nd in extra base hits and 1st in runs. I don't understand how we're getting on base and hitting a ton of home runs, but we're only scoring tied for 7th for the most runs. That seems odd to me. And then we're striking out a ton and then not stealing any bags and then not getting good base running. Maybe we're just running into outs and striking out, leaving guys on base. Probably is what's happening. But then we're also, on the flip side, the best offense when it comes to run prevention in the National League, as well as just overall ERA. Top 5 in starters ERA even this season. 2nd in hits allowed, an average. 5th in BABIP, the least amount of home runs allowed, the 2nd least amount of balls, 5th in strikeouts as a staff, 4th in defensive efficiency, and then 1st in zone rating and in the least amount of errors. Thank you very much. It's the Washington Nationals defense. It's a Jersey-born OOTP team. So taking a look at this pitching staff, the best pitching staff in the National League this season, sorting by wins above replacement. We had 4 players above 3 wins in the pitching staff this season. Jacob Steinmetz, the Rule 5 selection from the Arizona Diamondbacks, from whatever this money laundering academy is in Delray Beach, Florida. Sure, whatever. He ends up with a 3.6 wins above replacement, leading our pitching staff. Nick Lodolo, acquired at the deadline from the Royals, ended up being very, very good for us as well. Shane Rodemaker, what a discovery this guy has been. Him and Steinmetz have been huge saviors for this staff. I mean, you get this guy in the Rule 5 draft, and then you get Rodemaker from indie ball, and he's just basically George Kirby for us. So, I mean, just incredible stuff. And then there's Matamoros, who had a 3.2 WAR as a reliever, 71 innings as like a single inning sort of reliever too, because he's only a 25 stamina guy. Insane reliever out of Coastal. I mean, look at these percentile rankings. Look at these ratings. The guy's incredible. A 36% strikeout rate with only a 6% walk rate and a .1 home run per 9. I mean, otherworldly stuff. Jose Rodriguez also a very, very good reliever for us. He's 30 years old now. He was the lone strikeout guy for a long time, but now we have him, we have Matamoros, we have Lambert. Staff's looking up. Jerry Harris ended up putting together towards the end of the season, ended up with a 2-win season at the plate and a 2-win season at the on the mound. So, around league average when it comes to his pitching. Ended the season had a good August, not a great September, but overall a decent season for him on the mound. We'll take it. And then, like I said, he had 22 home runs, 21 doubles, and was a very productive DH as well for us. And then moving things on to the rest of the pitching staff, Dax Hardcastle showing his worth. He's looking like a guy who we're going to look at super seriously for a rotation spot next season because he's looking quite good. Out of Stockton, California. Once again, shout out to the Diaz brothers, Dax Hardcastle. And now it's Cameron Majinski. He came back from his injury, made 7 starts, was really good in all of them. I mean, look at these percentile rankings. Really, really good player. Don't know if we're going to be able to bring him back next season, but we might look into possibly doing like a 3-year deal if we can. We'll tackle that when the time comes, but for now, Majinski heading into the playoffs with us. And then Robinson Ortiz, not quite the year he had last year, but still a very productive player for us in the bullpen as a lefty. Alex Rouse comes up, puts up 43 1/3 innings. Really good numbers. Definitely needs to cut down on the walks. That's something for sure that needs to be cut down on. We will definitely be putting him in the control lab over the offseason. But for now, really good player. And hoping he can keep developed for us and maybe be a starter heading into next season or the season after that or at some point. Edwin Alcia lost his starting job as the season came down to an end, no longer needing a follower, and he was just really good as a follower and a true reliever. Not very good at all as a starter, though, so he's in the bullpen as a lefty, giving us some decent performances there. And then Travis Sakura actually had a decent year in the bullpen for him as well. Wellington Herrera had a good year as a high-leverage lefty for us after dominating in AAA for Rochester in the previous season after we claimed him from the Chicago Cubs. And then Ryan Lambert put together a good FIP season, not a great ERA season. Most of his appearances were as an opener tied to either Fluky or Alcia, but like really high strikeout percentage, a 24.5 K minus walk. Solid stuff there. We will absolutely take that. Just got quite unlucky with the BABIP, running a 321 BABIP, and just, the ERA, very unlucky when you have that good of a FIP. Brian Fleury came up from AAA, dominated AAA, was okay in the big leagues, around league average, a little bit better on the FIP, a little bit worse than the ERA. It's his first taste of the big leagues here. He's definitely got some more developing to do, but he needed to be added to the 40-man anyways, so I figured why not get him a taste of the big leagues. He's on the big league staff, got 10 in the third inning in low-leverage situations. We're interested to see if he can keep developing for us and possibly be a starting option. And then, like I said, Cameron Fluky, by far the worst pitcher on the staff this year, just not good. Highest home runs per 9 on the team with a 1.5. I mean, he just has not really turned into what we would have hoped he would have turned into, and we've got him signed for many more years to come, which is another contract that we might be trying to get off of this offseason because it's not looking great. And now taking a look on the hitting side of things, Angel Feliz putting together a 5.7 win season with a 126 WRC plus, 26 doubles, and 30 home runs to go with 23 stolen bases at a solid success rate, and put together a 5 ZR at the shortstop position. So Eli Willits, another guy we're going to be trying to move off of this offseason, no longer needed on this team because Angel Feliz has taken over that shortstop position. Hell yes. Finally, a good shortstop both ways. And then James Wood, not quite the MVP level season he had last year, but still very, very solid. 4.3 wins, 143 WRC plus, 31 doubles, 31 home runs, and 24 swiped bags while getting on base a ton. I mean, just a really, really good player. Harry Ford put together a 4-win season doing his thing. He just continues to be steady Eddie for us, swiping 27 bags as a catcher this year. That's a career high for him, at least I think. It is indeed. Career high 27 swipe bags and a career high stolen base percentage. So just all around, really good stuff for Harry Ford. Luis Hernandez, not the best hitter this season, but 3-win player at the hot corner for us. Ronnie Cruz comes up and just plays all over the place. Every third day at second base, backup corner outfielder, playing all over the place, puts together a 2-win season in only 46 games. I mean, he is hot, 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 folks. Ronnie Cruz. Great facial hair, too. Looks kind of like Tanner Houck. And then I already mentioned Jerry Harris. He put together a solid season to play for us this season. 22 home runs, 21 doubles. We'll take it. I mean, walked a ton, doesn't strike out. Really solid player at the plate for us. Love to see it. Mike Sirota, not his best season, but, it is what it is. A little bit less than league average. Barely, not quite a 2-win season, but you round up and it's a 2-win season. Put together, at least he was good defensively, though. Didn't fall off there. 5 ZR. Good enough. We still trust Mike Sirota. I'm not regretting extending Mike Sirota. Plus, he's the guy. He's Mike Sirota. And then Zahir Hope, ended up hitting second for us because he was so hot during the early season, but ended up around a little bit above league average with a 105 WRC plus, 1.7 wins, 28 doubles, 22 home runs, 18 swipe bags, just a terrible rate. Definitely need to adjust something there with the stolen bases, but overall, solid player. He put together a 3.2 ZR in right field. We will take it. And then Rich Leno ended up being whatever as a backup catcher. He's a backup catcher. We don't expect anything from these guys other than just get in there and don't be a total horrible catcher. And honestly, he put up a similar framing, a little bit better framing number than Harry Ford in much less appearances. So that's something there. Jet Williams ended up not being too great. Ronnie Cruz is probably going to be the second baseman in the postseason, where Jet Williams will transition into a starting second or a bench role. But we still like Jet Williams heading into the future here, he's still a very, very intriguing player for me with the bat and his speed profile. Might even be more useful with this speed profile coming off the bench here in the postseason. But a high leader guy, definitely somebody we want to keep around. And then Dylan O'Reilly, same sort of thing with him, high leader. Not the most useful player, but still useful enough to have. And will continue to be on this team heading into the postseason. And then Spencer Torkelson, just totally shit. Nothing positive to say about this man. We cut back his plate appearances a ton this year because he was just so bad. 18 homers last year, 7 this season. The underlying numbers not looking good. Last year, at least the underlying numbers were still like, okay, maybe he could do something next year. And then this year, they just get infinitely worse. And then you look at 2 years ago where he was, putting together at least a little bit above league average season. And then in 2028, when we first traded for him, was when he was doing some real work for us in Detroit. But basically, ever since he's been a full-time National, it's kind of been disappointing because even that 2029 season, he started off, if you remember, beginning of the season, he was struggling big time. So I was kind of hoping that he would be able to fix it, right the ship towards the end of 2030. But it's never been righted. The ship's going all sorts of different directions. It's hitting in icebergs. It's hitting rocks. Nothing's going well. And then we've also got Brent Rooker here, who only has a week left in his fractured thumb. So he might end up on the postseason roster instead of Torkelson. We'll have to see how things shake out, but we'll tackle that once we get to that point of the decision-making. But for now, let's take a look at the statistics. On the hitting side of things, your National League average leader was Carlos Betanzos, a 22-year-old with crazy bat-to-ball skills, good gap power, some decent eye and power potential there as well. Puts together a 3-win season here for Chicago. And then your American League average leader was Kevin McGonigal of the defending champion Detroit Tigers. Quinn Holm follows up his 67 home run season by hitting 71 home runs. And one thing I should mention, we do not have automatic evolution checked quite yet. I'm waiting until we get a little bit farther into the series, and then we'll check that, and we'll only have the more or less offense, more or less pitching checked. We don't even have that. So this is the current real-life run environment, and this guy's doing numbers like that in that run environment. I mean, look at the difference between him and Jackson Holliday, of all people, hitting 41 home runs. That is crazy. And then this guy who's out of nowhere from the Marlins, he was their 4th overall pick in 2029, broke out this season with a 6.5 win year. I mean, crazy stuff. He went straight from college to AAA, was in the bigs last year, was pretty effective, and then this year really just busted the door open, and he has arrived at the major league level here. So looking forward to seeing that guy for the next few seasons in the National League East. And then there's also another name I don't recognize from the Cardinals here, Raniel Rodriguez, a catcher with 65 power. I mean, that's damn good as well. And he's also been extended through 2039 at a pretty high rate. And then over on the WAR side, Elly De La Cruz is the National League leader, and then the American League leader, Jackson Holliday. Chandler Simpson with 97 stolen bases this year with the Minnesota Twins. Jesus Christ. I mean, look at these percentile rankings. 100th percentile base running, expected batting average, and then 99th for K percentage. And then he has a bunch of single digit, he even has ones. He's not even a good fielder. What an odd player. What an odd player. Honestly, if I was the Twins, I would be pissed because it's like, man, we're committing a center field spot to you for no reason. You're terrible. We're probably terrible because you're just tanking our defense. Yeah, they were below 500. They probably would have been a bit better if they just didn't have him playing center field and maybe playing left field instead. Honestly, let's just see what their center field situation looks like. Left field, they got Luke Keeschel. 55, probably would rather play him in center, honestly. Right field, Matt Gorski, 55. 2 guys right there, boom. Probably better center fielders than Chandler Simpson. Maybe they're probably also going to put up negative ZRs, but maybe like a -8 instead of a -11. Anybody on their bench in the big leagues? Trevor Larnach's not a center fielder, neither is Matt Wallner, so yeah. Maybe they just don't have any other guys to play center. But anyways, like I was saying, I'd be pissed if I was the Twins, because, man, we commit all this time to you so you can add nothing to the team, and then you don't even get to 100 stolen bases. I would just be like, man, tank the percentage, just go all the time. But then moving things on, Brandon Poore of the Reds leads Major League Baseball in hits. National League leader, the American League leader, Jackson Holliday. I mean, Holliday's was insane. He had all these hits. He had that super high average, and he had 41 home runs. I mean, that's crazy stuff from Jackson Holliday. The Orioles were really, really good this season. Also had the highest OPS. He'll probably win MVP of the American League. Runs scored was Holm, Holliday behind him. Cole Carrick's out here hitting a ton of triples and swiping a ton of bags for the Colorado Rockies. Brandon Poore's hitting a bunch of doubles for Cincinnati. None of our players end up on these league leaders lists. That's crazy. Oh, we do have some ISO, James Wood, some OPS plus, James Wood, WPA, James Wood, and Harry Ford. We'll take it. On the pitching side of things, on the White Sox, Luis Morales. Real guy. Not really familiar with this guy in real life, to be honest. I mean, it looks like he pitched in 2025, so maybe I should be familiar with him, but like the name doesn't really stand out to me. But all of a sudden here, 5-win season, leading the American League at ERA with a 2.08. And then your National League leader was Trevor Rogers here with the Marlins, back with the Marlins. It looks like he left Baltimore and then goes back to Miami and just turns into an absolute stud. And look at this. We got Alcia and Lodolo with counting wins. Not that I give a shit about that, but yeah, good. Woohoo. Good stuff. Getting a bunch of counting wins. Paul Skeens, most strikeouts and the highest wins above replacement. In the National League, the American League was Robbie Snelling of the Twins. Brian Wu still chugging along with Seattle. He is now almost 32 years old. I mean, he's just been incredible in this universe. 2026, the first year of it, he was not good, and then ever since then, he has just been really, really good for the Mariners here. And then I'm not seeing any of our guys pop up on any of these numbers, but we do have Nick Lodolo with some of the lowest walks per 9. Nobody on the shutdown list. The holds list, Jose Rodriguez. Winning percentage, Lodolo, sure. And then nothing else here. And then on the fielding side of things, not seeing any of our players stand out here. We got some Harry Ford defensive efficiency and Harry Ford catcher's ERA, but nothing else popping up for us. Not even the assists. So just, yeah, nothing really happening for our defensive side of things, but we're still the best defensive team in the National League, even with nobody popping up on any of these counting stat leaderboards. I never look at this streak list. Maybe I should be looking at this. We've got, apparently Nico Horner had a 35-game hitting streak. That's crazy. Robinson Ortiz had a 14-game shutdown streak. Matamoros had a 10-game, he struck out 10 consecutive batters. That's insane. Feliz had 26 consecutive stolen bases. Apparently he also had consecutive pinch hit home runs. And then scoreless innings, Jose Rodriguez had 23 of those. Jack Leiter, disgusting, very nasty. Poo, 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 throw tomato, throw tomato, throw tomato. And then Carmen Majinski here with 11 straight scoreless innings, and he only had 42 in the third this whole season. So crazy stuff there. I should start incorporating the streaks thing into our every end of season look, because I've never really looked at that, but that's interesting to see here. This is the first time I've ever actually looked at this page, really. And then taking a look at the playoff tree, you've got the Phillies and the Reds with the byes in the National League. We will be taking on the Atlanta Braves. The Cubs are taking on the D-backs. And then over on the American League side of things, you've got the Orioles and the White Sox with byes. And then the Red Sox, Yankees taking on each other in the wild card. That's 4 teams from the American League East making it. Orioles, Red Sox, Yankees, and Blue Jays who are playing the Mariners in their wild card round. So those are the playoff series. We will see you for Nats Braves next time.